Over on GCN, we've got a video about an Iceland epic gravel ride in which myself and Neil Donoghue from GMBN put a gravel bike head-to-head against a mountain bike to see if either of them is better suited to this kind of extreme riding. And this is the bike that I did it on. This is the gravel bike, and in this video I want to give you a little bit more information about it. So first of all, let's get rid of those Topeak bags and see what's underneath. This is my Moots Routt 45 gravel adventure bike, and it's not something you see that often on GCN, not the gravel adventure side, but it is made out of titanium, long been considered, rightly so, the most exotic of bike manufacturing materials. And it's kind of ironic, I guess, when you think about it, because titanium is the 9th most abundant element on Earth. You find it in paper and sun cream, but when you actually make a bike out of it, it is a much harder process. Now, Moots use what's called an alloy 3/2.5 aluminium vanadium, and the tubes are seamless, meaning that it's really difficult to actually machine them. But once you've got them, they are a work of art. Now, Moots started in 1981. Their base is Steamboat Springs, Colorado. They originally made bikes out of steel, and then they swapped to titanium in 1991. Exactly 10 years, in fact, before I, as an 18-year-old, knocked on their door and asked to have a look around their factory, because as it happened, I had a training camp in Steamboat Springs, and I was getting a little bit bored. Anyway, they very kindly showed me around, but I've had to wait 17 years before getting to ride one of their bikes. As their adventure bike, this one has clearance for 45mm wide tyres, but I reckon you can squeeze 47s in on there. There's plenty of clearance. And the geometry is also markedly different from a road bike. It's a little bit longer, so we've got longer chainstays on there. It's a little bit more relaxed at the front end, but actually you don't notice it feeling any slower, certainly not when you're riding fast on loose and rough terrain. It has disc brakes, of course, but one of the cool things about this one is that when you look at the flat mount for the brake at the back, it's not made from the same kind of tubing as the rest of the frame, and that is because it's made instead with additive layer manufacturing. So basically, a 3D printed brake mount and dropout. As you might expect from a disc bike, it has through axles, 142/12 at the back and 100/12 up front. It's got internally routed cables, and then other little features that mark this out as a bike for adventure. We've got a third set of bottle bosses on there. I haven't needed to use them because water is more than abundant in Iceland, as it turns out, but they are there, as are the fender mounts, so you can fit mudguards to this bike as well. On to the finishing kit now. Reynolds have very kindly supplied their all-road wheels. So these are the ATRs, carbon fibre, 40mm deep and really wide, so 32mm externally, 23mm internally. And the idea behind those broad rims is to better support wider all-road tyres. Crucially, they're also tubeless compatible, meaning that you can run your tyres tubeless and you get that improved puncture resistance even at lower pressures, which is perfect for Icelandic gravel and, yes, Icelandic lava fields as well. Now, despite them being an all-road wheel set, they are a remarkably svelte 1,620 grams for the pair. It's also got one of the nicest sounding free hubs I've heard in many a year, and that is because it's got 36 points of engagement, so it's that real high frequency buzz. I know that's a bit geeky, but you know, I notice these things. Groupset is Shimano's Ultegra Di2 groupset with disc brakes, of course. It always seems a little bit funny running a road groupset off-road and thrashing it through mud and dust, but the fact is, the technology between Shimano's road and mountain bike groupsets is broadly similar. In fact, Di2 started on the road and then migrated over onto mountain bikes, and then in this case, the mountain bike technology has come directly back in that Ultegra RX rear derailleur. It's got a clutch mechanism built in that means that the chain is held under much greater control when you're riding over rough terrain. So effectively, although perhaps it looks slightly incongruous covered in mud and dust, the groupset doesn't mind. It still works flawlessly. What is different though between road and mountain bike is the size of the gears on here. So I'm running the easiest gears that you can on this Ultegra setup. So that is a 50-34 compact chain set up front and an 11-34 cassette at the back. And so when you're going super slowly up difficult terrain, actually you may find you run out of gears on this. But you could theoretically swap in a mountain bike rear derailleur on there and have an even bigger cassette, or change your crankset up front. Now I've got a very old pair of Shimano mountain bike pedals on there as well, because it's important to be able to get off and actually walk with your bike. It always seems that you can't have a super top-end frame set without running a Chris King headset, and so there is duly one on here as well. The seat post and the stem are both Moots made out of titanium, and just like the frame, things are beauty. In fact, when you start looking closely, it's almost more like jewellery than bike components. Absolutely fantastic. The handlebars come from Easton. They're their EA70 AXs, so they're the off-road specific ones, quite distinct because they've got that big flare on the drops. And you'll find if you ride flared drops that it does give you quite a significant extra degree of control when the going gets rough and the going gets technical. They've also got quite a shallow drop on there, so you can be still relatively upright, despite the fact that you'll notice that I've got quite a nice drop from saddle to bar. That is particular to me and my setup, but anyway, it's always good. Saddle is from Fizik. It is their Aliante model, as you can see. Final 2 points to note. Up front, I've got the Wahoo Elemnt computer on there. That's the larger of their computers, which has got greater battery life. It's also perfect for when you're relying quite heavily on maps. And then lastly, I've got that Cycliq camera and light combination up there as well. So we've been recording some pretty cool onboard footage. Now, to see exactly how this bike has got on out here in Iceland, then make sure you head over to GCN to check out that full video. Also, Neil gives you a closer look at his Mountaineer mountain bike over on GMBN, so make sure you check that one out as well. And then finally, all that's left to say is give this a big thumbs up if you are feeling those titanium vibes. I am.